back to the Truth Be Told podcast. I'm your host, Pat.
I'm your host, Fred.
And today we're going to get back into slavery.
Slavery.
We're going to talk about slavery a little bit. So to get y'all caught up on this right here, we're going to probably jump scene to scene. We're going to take it outside a little bit. We're going to give y'all a little bit inside the studio. So when it comes to slavery, what you have to say on that, Fred?
First of all, we got to know what slavery is. Slavery is the ownership of a person as property as it relates to their labor. The key word here is labor. See, most people want to think slavery is dealing about the bondage of a person, but bondage can be more than just physical bondage. It can be mental bondage. Okay, so therefore, when we talk about slavery today, we're going to talk about that. Is slavery relevant today? Or are we in slavery? Can we overcome slavery? Is slavery a good thing? Is slavery a bad thing? So we're going to look at that part as we go through this video about slavery. Remember, it's going to be a good video. So make sure you pay attention. Good knowledge coming from this video.
Right. I'm going to have a lot of visual in this video. So y'all, I'm going to give you all a disclosure now. You know, it might have some graphics that might be unsettling to some, but it's going to be graphic, containing slavery. So, Fred, do you have a date on when slavery started? Was it a start date?
Slavery has been around since the beginning of time. Every nation on this planet has owned slaves. Now, it's not that we sit around and we say slaves. We think about, in America, we think about slavery as people coming over from Africa. But every country, every tribe, if you don't talk about Indians, every tribe, every nation has enslaved their own people. It's just how it is. And when I go in, if I conquer your people, I made your people slaves. So therefore, we get them in the same country. But if I go in that says, you got a kingdom and I got a kingdom, when I overtook your kingdom, I didn't kill off your people. I made your people slaves. So therefore, I had your people to work. That's why I said slavery is that labor. So I had your people to labor for me. So slavery has been around forever. And like I said, it may not be going anywhere no time soon.
And now once you broke it down like that really makes sense, because now that I look back through history, I guess we have Egypt was built up off of slavery.
Everything.
Rome built up off of slavery. America, Dubai.
Everything.
Everything was built up off of slavery, off of slave labor.
That's it.
And
labor.
So now we have a date when it started. So from the beginning of time, it's been slavery, been some form of slavery. So in America, was it a date that it ended?
Well, most people think that there's a date it ended, but it wasn't a date it ended. It was a date that they actually stopped the European from bringing people from Africa over to America, over in the West Indies over to America. That's what stopped. It didn't stop slavery.
Right.
It stopped the process of them bringing them over.
Trade from
That's what it stopped, the slave trade. Now, what happened was they sit around and they like, remember, they looking around like, okay, you know what? I'm not bringing in slaves in, but we need slave labor. So that's when what they came up with is slave breeding camps. So what they sit around and have one man impregnated 5, 20, 30, 50 women, and therefore it keeping the thing. So therefore it's talking is we're doing in-house slaving.
And I think you call that the bull. That was the bull.
Right.
Yeah. Just like animals, how you have animals and you want to breed them for the produce another good animal, you get the stud, and they did the same thing in slavery.
Yeah. So, they just started to build on. And remember, most people think, remember when Thomas Jefferson started Democratic Republican Party. Notice these parties was together.
Right.
So they started this party only to make sure that they had slave labor. That's when they came out with all these breeding camps. So they made sure that slavery kept going. He ain't sit around and try to abolish slavery. He just said, you know what? this is how we're going to keep it going, and we're going to breed them, and then we're going to make slaves from the people that we already had.
Right.
So,
and from everybody who watching this video, if you haven't experienced your lifetime, slavery, it's been everywhere. It's been out in your lifetime, or in the city you live in, the state you live in. Like, I'm from Montgomery, Alabama, and Montgomery have a big slave history. If you all, a lot of y'all heard about the riverboat, incident, down in that area, the downtown area off the riverfront. From that riverfront, and I see, can I put y'all a little visual in it? From that riverfront all the way up to the Capitol was all slave market. It's a little fountain up there on what street that on in front of the courthouse. Can't think of the street, but it's a fountain up there. It's still it's an operational fountain. That it used to be like a little courtyard where they used to march the slaves up from the ship up the street, and they had an option where they sell slave, and they had stuff like the Jubilee. Jubilee was a big operation where they had slave trade. So now the reason are we talking about this stuff now, Fred? I don't want to get too deep into it, and people, we lose interest. Now the reason I think we covering this is because, is it good or bad? Now this is what we want to get into. It's so we know it exists,
right?
And it existed, so it still exists. So is it good or bad? So break that down for me if you can.
I'm gonna put it like this: the economy doesn't run if nobody's working. Remember, certain people won't do certain jobs. So we got to have those people to be able to do the job. So in order to do it, yes, slavery is important. Slavery is needed. But it's called modern slavery.
Right.
Modern slavery, remember, the Lord says this: the borrower is a slave to the lender. So therefore, what happens is, what are we doing? When we get a car, we're borrowing money from them. When we get a house, we're borrowing money from them. So we become that slave until we actually pay that debt off. So who's a slave? We're all slaves. That means when I go to work every day, I'm a slave to that person for that 8 hours that day I'm there. That means I don't sit around and go home. If I go home, I don't get paid. I don't get home, I can't pay the debt that I have. So we're all slaves, and we're actually having to build, because we're building as we move. Because think about it, if nobody was working, we ain't got nothing.
And I agree with that. So it's not to me, it's not no bad thing of slavery. I hate it happened like the way it happened, but it had to happen. Now the reason I'm saying that, because of course America was built up off of slavery. So we watching this today, of course we might have some people outside America. We do. Welcome. Thank you for being here. But so we're looking like everything around you, it took slaves to get it to that point. So I'm thankful, I'm grateful to be able to live in a time like this where I have all these resources and options and choices in life. But I hate that, people had to sacrifice. But like Fred said, unfortunately, that's how the system is made. Just like you might be on a job and you feel like the job might not be paying you enough. You got to look at it like this. Somebody has to do that job. We're just going to use this for example. You got a fast food restaurant. Okay, so I'm looking at every point of view. I'm trying to go through this real fast. I don't want to stay on too long. So you have a worker. Well, first you have a owner, you have the manager, you have a worker, and have a customer. So everybody is important. It take all of them to make this operation work. It took the owner to think about the business and start the business, build the business to make it work. You need a manager to be able to run the shift of the crew, the members, crew members, and you need the crew members to be able to prepare the food for the customers. So the crew member might not be getting paid as much, and the manager get paid a little more than the crew member. But of course, the owner making the most money. So in a sense, that's his slaves, because if they decide to start working, then he's not gonna make no money. So they getting unpaid, and it might seem like slavery, but it take all that to be able to make this world operate. So if we all decide, you know what, I'm not gonna be a slave to the system. Oh, I'm not working. Yes, say it's 75% of us do that, and you only have 25% worker. The world would end. It would stop operating. So it's nothing that you can do to stop slavery and end slavery, because it's not gonna happen. As you see, that's what we're covering. That it's not going nowhere. Slavery exists, and it's not going nowhere. So now, if you want to take some of this tension off of slavery, you can do that to each his own. You can do that. And then what I mean by taking some of the tension off of it, that when it comes to working a job and growing your income in other places other than your job. It's okay to work a job. You have to work a job. You have to pay bills. But always remember, you created the bill. So in a sense, you put yourself in slavery. So we can't blame it on nobody. We can't go back 400 years and blame it on the white man, you know, just being real with it. Now, modern day time, I feel like we have to blame it on ourselves. Because you have a fresh slate. So if you decide to get this car, get this house, now, like you say, what you is, you a borrower.
Yeah.
You're a borrower to the lender. Somebody gave you opportunity to get this car, to get this house, and you wanted it. So you kind of sign yourself up for slavery. And I call it modern day sharecropper. You know, sharecropper then that when they, that's post slavery, they gave you opportunity, hey, I'll let you stay on this land. If you crop it for me, you work the land for me, I'll let you stay on it, and I give you some of the crops that you grow.
Right.
So I feel like that's still a practice that is getting practiced today.
Oh, definitely. Now, one thing, the difference between old time slavery and the modern day slavery is that in old time they had the more physical abuse. You had physical and you had mental abuse. You have more physical than mental abuse. But in the modern day slavery, you have that more mental abuse where you says that if you don't do this, I'm gonna take this from you. And if you don't do this, I'm gonna take that from you. So therefore the mental abuse is the strongest. Now, when you talked about a part about we put ourselves in slavery, no, remember, when we put ourselves in slavery, we put ourselves in slavery to become better, to have better finance. So it says, you know what? I borrowed the money, but it's slavery in which I can actually deal with.
Right.
So I'm not going to say, oh, it's all bad because I'm in slavery.
Right.
No, it's enslaved because I'm getting what I want. So long as I'm getting what I want and I know I have to work, because the Bible says the man who don't work, man don't eat. So you have to work. So if I got to work, I got to eat. I'm trying to give you the best life while I'm working. So I don't want to work and have nothing.
Right.
So I want to go home like everybody else. I know you want to go home. When you finish work, you want to go home with your lights on, your TV on. You want to have your internet. You want to have something where you can relax.
Right.
But in old time slavery, you didn't have that time to relax because you were working from sun up to sundown. See, now we work 8 hours. So when we work 8 hours, then we can come back and say, you know what? I worked hard today. I've earned this. Can I earn some more money to help ease the burden that I put on myself? But remember, slavery is not bad as we say it is. And the whole time it was bad. But in modern day slavery, it's the way of life. So you cannot just say, I'm not in slavery anymore, because as soon as you stop working, you will stop eating. And when you stop eating, you will be homeless. So make sure you understand slavery is not a bad thing. It's been around since the beginning of time. And as long as this earth exists, there will be a form of slavery. And we just got to deal with it. It ain't as bad as you say it is. Okay?
Now we're going to dig deeper into some questions. Like I said, we're covering this topic because we had a subscriber to give us some questions on slavery, and also a few people mentioned slavery, and I feel like it's a good topic to cover, especially by us being here in Montgomery, Alabama, because like I said, Montgomery have a big slave history. As y'all can see, we downtown on the riverfront, and we got the whole famous area behind us that went viral what it was last year. And I feel like that moment in history had a lot to do with slavery too, because from my opinion, what happened, slavery caused it to happen. With the history of slavery, we mentioned slavery, but from when the slaves were so-called freed up until today, it's still slavery still exists in many forms. Even when you come to the racial profile and equal justice, like I say, it never ended. So I'm gonna every now and then I'm gonna ask a question, Fred, of what this subscriber have for us, and I'll let you go off of
Okay.
off of that.
Now, when we look at slavery, you understand what we talk about domestic slavery. Remember, the Bible always tell you the borrower is always a slave to the lender. So what's happening is they change it instead of saying, you know what, we're gonna put you in bondage, we're gonna put you in mental bondage.
Right.
We're gonna put you in physical bondage in a way that you sit around, you can't pay your bills, we'll take something from you. So what happened is we're going to a part where we go and say, you know what, I buy this car, that's cool, that's fine. You are the borrower. You are enslaved to the person that made you that money. The rest of the team actually pay that car off, or you buy a house the same way.
Right.
So what happened is they're holding us enslaved. We have to work in order to get that done. So they're taking you to that part where it's the definition about the compulsory work. So therefore it keeps you working to make sure that you're able to pay that debt off in laborer's terms, not just monetary terms.
So in a sense, I think I came across this topic the other day. Why do we work? Is it something that is it in a sense? Can it be to a point of course, how far we've come in today's society? We have to work, but
Right.
But a lot of stuff that we have, and like you were saying, so-called chairs, like have a vehicle and want to have this car and stuff. Like I said, that in the 21st century that became more important. But to a sense, do we have to work, or can we live off the grid? Like, can we, once we buy our own land with the money that we work for, can't that be cut out the picture? If it do be cut out the picture, would that cause slavery to really come back into effect how it was in the past?
The only part is the buy the land part. Remember, the government, the state, own all the land. You can only rent the land. So you really can't get to say if I own my own land unless you're anywhere the government actually give you the land and give you control over that land. See, we don't have that. We can buy the land, but we're not in control. They control what we put on the land. So we can say, oh, own some land, but if they say we can't put something there, we can't put it there.
And that's pretty much covered, just like how you can be a landowner and you can still subject to what you can do on land. Like some places live in rain. Some places they limit to your resources where they can keep everything going, right? Because like I said, from what I study of in my lifetime on slavery, and I watched a lot of documentaries and stuff. America was built up on slavery, on slave labor.
The world was built on slave labor.
And I'm glad you said the word, because I always have in my head America, but what's the latest slave labor that was used? Now we look at Egypt, the pyramids were built, and we look at American built. But have y'all seen Dubai lately? You know, and it was a documentary I seen on that. It was really taking slave labor. It was people working in Dubai, and they was living in the slums. They just bad to survive. And this
They can't sit around and say, oh, I can sit around and get me a steak when I want to get me lobster and shrimp. They're living on the same kind of food that they were giving him back in slavery time. Talk about whether it's piggy ears and hog maws and stuff like this. Used to be stuff that they threw away. Now it's still a staple of our community. People still eating that stuff. Not because they're actually think they coming out of slavery, because what they're doing is, like I said, they're only paying them enough. So what happens is, as soon as they get paid, remember, they're slaves, so that means they gotta pay the rent, they gotta pay for the car, they gotta pay for the food, and by the time they pay for all that, they only have a little bit left for themselves. That keeps them have to keep going back to work, to be in more slavery every single day of their lives, until one day
they decided, you know what, we group together and we can actually come together and build our own community and our own self-storage. But right now, this slavery definitely
has come to the point where we live in the work. Retirement age is it 67 or is it 70 now?
They keep pushing it back on it is the workers. The point is if you're not producing enough workers, you gotta keep on working.
Right.
So if I say what, like most people don't have a retirement, they think of majority of jobs don't have a retirement system, they have 401k. So if you get 401k, 9 times out of 10, you probably won't retire until the maximum age limit to get your money. So that just keeps you in the workforce that much longer. But like I said, until we actually start to say, look at the slavery part of what we're in, slavery, and understanding what it is, we cannot change it. Our goal is to look at something and then look and say, oh, we look at the best part of it. But we want to look at reality, what we are, highly paid slaves.
And I see a question here. Again, right now, one of the questions say, are poor people slaves? Are rich people slaves? If so, who is the better slave?
Okay. Now, the fact of the matter is, we're all slaves. There's no color in slavery.
Right.
So it didn't say, oh, black man. Notice when I read the definition, it didn't tell the color of a slave. It just said a slave is. So what happened is, even if I'm the worker and you're the one who have to oversee me working, you're slave to me because you have to be there to watch me. Otherwise, you would not be there. But if I was not a slave, if I was free, I would be at home doing my own thing. Right. Then if I have to be there to watch you, to get paid, I'm a slave. So don't get it twisted. White people just as much in slavery as we are.
Alright, so we came across the point where we found out the definition of slavery. We found out when it so-called ended, and we all know it. We don't need to cover or ask the question who was a slave about the history up to now. We know who was slaves, you know. So how can this topic impact us in today's society? What can we do to help put a major impact on slavery? Like I say, I was speaking to my wife the other night about this topic, and you know, she had some concerns and everything. But I was telling her, you know, it's something that needs to be covered. You know, it's something that we need to speak on. Just like soon, right down here, they're going to start having, I think what it's called, R&B picnic. And I was telling them, well, you know, it's okay, it's fine. You know, it's good that, you know, we come together and get along and have a good time. But I was saying it's also good to know the history. You know, a lot of people come down here and you know, hang out and everything. But my concern was, I was telling you, know, they charge us to come down here for, like right now it's free. You come down here, this
Right.
is we taxpayer money, right?
Right.
So I said, you don't find it wrong that they charge people to come down here and you bring your own picnic, you know, chairs and everything, your own food. They charge you to come down here. And I say, years ago, this was a slave trade valley. You know, they brought them with the river and you know, marched them up downtown, and it's a fountain up there downtown Montgomery on what street it is, on the main street of the Capitol. And that's what he sold the slaves there right there in the courtyard. You know, and all, I have a map, we'll put it on the screen for you all to see it. All down that road, they had a lot of slave activity. You have the slave depot and different stuff. So the point of me saying that, I feel like it's different ways that we can, of course we can't change slavery. I feel like different ways we can stand up and speak up for ourselves as they did during the civil rights era. The reason I say that, we shouldn't have to pay to come down here to listen to some music and have a good time. That stuff should be free, you know, and that comes to a form of, you know, of slavery. Like you said, we spending money, unnecessary money that we shouldn't have to spend. Like I said, because we already limited on how much we make. Just like right now, the cost of living is going up.
Right.
So what can we now? So the reason I'm saying is, what can we do to help correct slavery? We know it's not going to end, so we can not. I'm not going to say what can we do to end it. It's not going to end. What can we do to help correct it?
Well, correcting something that's been around for a lifetime, technically correcting is going to be a whole other topic. You're talking about correcting something. But when you look at slavery, think about slavery like, when is there a good slave? What's a good slave? A good slave is a person who don't know they're a slave. I remember I told you before that the borrower is a slave to the land. So what happened is, the more and more we purchase, the more we enslave ourselves. Slavery is not something that we're gonna say that's it's a mental thing. It's both mental and physical bondage. Sometimes we put ourselves in slavery. Sometimes other people put us in slavery. We can enslave ourselves. We say we can't. Whenever we say we can't do nothing, we already put them shackles on our feet. So therefore, we're not gonna move forward in that area. We sit around and we say, if we say that we're gonna go ahead on and we're gonna build something. When we build it, the problem is who's benefiting from the building. And that slave, then who's gonna build it? Is there a need for slaves? There is a need for slaves. Unfortunately, when it comes down to domestic slavery, there has to be a picking order. Somebody's gotta work, because if everybody was rich and there was no slavery, trust me, no work would get done. So ain't nobody building nothing, ain't nobody growing nothing. Why? Because they said, if I got everything, why am I gotta do it? Why I gotta do it? Because we don't want somebody else to do it. And they gonna be like, oh, I got the money too. I ain't gonna do it either. Right. So therefore, we got a problem. So therefore, is slavery needed? Definitely needed. It's the kind of slavery that you have to understand when you're moving forward. When we say domestic slavery, it's not like the slavery back in 1800s where we sit around and we didn't get paid and we only got a little bit. We get a little bit more than what they had. But we have to understand, bondage is bondage. Remember, we don't work for a time. We sit around and say, oh man, we working, we get paid. No, you get paid by how long you work. It's about time. In slavery, they was in time slavery. They was a slave for a long period of time. It means you're working for a long period of time. And what we're doing is, like you're talking about all this party and stuff, that's fine. But what's happening is, you don't know you're a slave when you're always distracted. So those parties and stuff you're going to and all that laughing and comedy club, that's a distraction from letting you understand that you are a slave and that you have to do the work. And if you don't work, you don't eat. That's in the Bible. So if the Bible keep on mentioning slavery, it said that the borrower is a slave to the lender. That means slavery has been around since biblical times and it's not going away. So it won't be the part where you sit around and we got shackles on our feet and all that part, but we can shackle ourselves either physically, where they can take stuff from you, which is decided, if you don't pay your bill, they come and take the stuff. It can be that mental part, like I told you before, where you sit around and say you can't do something and you won't do it. So when it comes down to slavery, remember, it's all not just an individual or a group of people that actually controlling, like you talking about slave masters. Sometimes we're our own slave masters. And we got to understand what we're doing every day in order to actually change, not slavery itself, but the perception of what slavery is.
So it comes to a point of, as right now today, unchain your mind, free yourself.
Gotta free yourself.
So it's not about what occurred in the past. Now, don't forget it.
Right.
Don't forget it. But as of today, it's about freeing your mind, unchaining it, free yourself, and it came. One of his questions came was, what are the different levels to make you a slave? So like I said, like you covered that. So it's to a point, like I said, doing slave, they didn't teach them how to read,
right,
how to write. None of that stuff was given to them. So now we of course, slavery still exists, but we modern day slaves. So we still have freedom to access anything we want to. Like I said, the distractions is the only thing that's stopping us.
Right. And you know, you can't make a good point about that. They didn't teach us how to read and stuff. Now that we know how to read, what's happening is the length of the reading. So now when they pass a bill or when they try to issue a bill or introduce a bill, it's in a document that's so long that most people won't read it because of the length of it. So we got another way. They got other ways to actually combat the part about not teaching you how to read. Just simply lengthening it. So if I got a document that's 500 pages, 9 times out of 10, who's going to sit and have the time to read 500 pages to have one simple message given? Nobody.
And I'm glad you covered that, because like now you think about it, and everything that comes to somebody signing a contract is long. If you're a car, if you're an artist, you're a musician, a singer, a rapper, you sign a contract, you had that thick contract, and you didn't enter yourself into slavery because of your mind, because you didn't have enough sense to read it and review it. Because you're not forced to do it. Like I said, it sounds good. They'll give you whatever you say you want, or give you a good layout of this is what we're gonna give you. But why they couldn't verbally tell you what you're gonna be doing? So that they put it in a paper form. Right, and they didn't want to put that in. Majority of the work is ambiguous, meaning it's unclear. You're reading it, but you can't understand it. So therefore, you're looking for only the part where you can understand. And then the biggest part will actually hold the part where it says a hit message. If I have a whole lot of documents you got to read, there may be a hidden message in there. That hidden message may be something that goes against what I'm telling you. So if I'm telling you I'm giving you $50 million, then all of a sudden I put into the contract and let unlabeled term that if you violate this, you violate that, you violate that, I take this, you violate that, I take this. So therefore you may be initially stating $50 million, but I'm not taking all that money away from you for all the penalties that you don't know about. $50 million. But the point is, with slavery won't end until we sit around and look at everything that we're going on in life. And actually, first step is to actually acknowledge you in slavery. Because first of all, if you do not acknowledge the problem will never, ever die, ever. Because you don't know it exists. So it's waiting to retire the only way to stop being enslaved. Well, actually, I wouldn't say that it's the stop slavery, but it'll reduce the amount of work you would have to do as a slave. Because you gotta understand, everybody's gotta work. I don't care who you are, you're gonna have to get up in the morning and you're gonna have to do something. No man, if you can call yourself free and you said I'm freedom and I ain't got nothing else to do, and ain't gotta do this, you gotta get up in the morning. You gotta get that food on that table. If you don't get that part, you ain't gonna eat, you ain't gonna live. So therefore, everybody is slave in this world. This world is going to keep you a slave until the day you die. The only problem is you want to reduce the effects of that slavery. So that when you get to the retirement age, you don't have to say, you know what, I still have to do this, but I don't have to go and work this 9 to 5. I don't have to go and I'm not obligated to do this job every single day. I can say, you know what, I don't feel like going today, I'm not going today. Can't nobody hold that against you. Why? Because you're retired. You already planned for your retirement. So therefore, you don't have to do that. But those who do not, because you got to look at the picture as it is, everybody will not retire. And because they won't retire, they're looking at things, and they're not actually, first of all, we all believing that we living forever. So if we live forever, why retire? And working is a part of life. I mean, it's what you do. I mean, everybody works. I mean, you don't look around and see the Mark Cubans of the world sitting at home doing nothing. Everybody works. They got to go out there. The Warren Buffetts, they out there looking at the stock market. They gotta do something. So therefore, they're just as much as in slavery as we are. The only problem is because of their capital, they had to minimize the effect of slavery on them. But we still got slavery. They're still in slavery too. So it comes to the sense at this point, it's okay being slaves. It's okay. It just, and a lot of this stuff was on my mind. I'm reading that what he wrote on here. It just to the point of finding something that come to job work. We gotta work. It's not all tired of work. And I don't work. You gotta work. You know you're gonna have to do this the rest of your life. Now you can minimize how much work you can do, and you can add more how much work you decide to put in a job, and for the realize where your pay scale is gonna be. That can change a little bit in your situation of dealing with slavery. So I'm guessing is find something that you don't mind doing, you like to do. So you want to find a job that you enjoy, and of course, like the slavery stigmas is, but they take your mind off the fact that, man, because if you really just wake up and think, man, I gotta work the rest of my life. And I'm on it 33 years old right now, and they say I gotta wait till 70 to retire, so I got about 30 more years to work. So that would keep you in a depressive state.
Right.
So.
But when you look at most people trying to find a job that you like, first of all, I've never found a true job that I actually like working. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna sit around and say, oh, I love them. No. But I love the people, and I love my people. I don't work for myself, I work for them.
Right.
So that keeps me going. So it's not be like, oh man, I'm tired, because first of all, I'm not working for myself. So my tiredness has nothing to do with it. What has to do with it is, are my kids getting fed? Do we have a roof over our heads? Do they have a roof over their head? Do they have health insurance? That's what I'm working for. So will that ever end? As long as I'm living and the Lord has given me the power to actually control their lives and help with their lives, I'm obligated for a lifetime. But that's not the case. I'm not giving for a day or 2 days or a week or something. It's in my, still there. And you still got to take care of them. So work for someone else that you care about and love. And work won't be as hard as you think. It won't be like, oh man, I'm working hard. No. You always work for somebody else, you wouldn't have.
So do you think we all have a purpose? Yeah.
We do. But the biggest purpose we have is to help the people. Because no matter how much you obtain in this world, I don't care how hard you work, how much money you make, at the end we all won't die. So therefore, our goal is to make sure that the people that come after us don't have to work so hard. They're going to have to work, but they don't have to work so hard. We're so obligated.
That's the answer I was looking for, because, like I said, of course, slavery happened, and you have people who came along to end up putting slavery to an end. You know what? To a sense, you know, like how you had
actually, like most people think slavery is a black and white thing, but it's not. Like I told you before at the beginning, every country in the world has owned slaves. And remember, slavery is not about just sitting around and putting you in shackles. Slavery can be the fact that you sit around and say, you know what, I put you in debt. You can't pay your debt. So therefore, you have to actually own your children now the work they did off. So therefore, I put you in slavery in order to pay a debt. So remember, like the Bible told you again, as I keep referring back to, the debtor is a slave to the lender. And if I put you in so much debt, it forces you to have to keep working to pay that debt off. And like I said, when most of them talk about domestic slavery, they had to sometimes have their kids to work the debt off. They're like, oh man, I can't quit working this debt off, so therefore I tell you what, kids need to be working for me for so many years. That's what the Chinese did. That's what the Indians did. All of it. So therefore, like I said, when it comes down to slavery, we're all in slavery, and it's not a black and white thing. It's a world thing.
We're gonna put a halt to it right there, and we're gonna let y'all debate on what we covered today. Was this a great topic? Was this a topic that we need to cover? I want to make sure to put all y'all comments down below, negative or positive.
Right.
I want to hear, or we want to see the comments, because ain't no use in having it in your head and thinking about it and want to see it. It might well come to the point where, yeah, we had a platform. Let's put it on the table. Let's really cover these things and talk about it. Because just like they said, the situation that happened down here on the riverfront with the fight situation. What caused that? What caused that? caused that really to happen? Could have been prevented, or was it a good thing for the young man to stand up for somebody else and seeing they was getting treated unfairly? So
like this is gonna be the first set of the series, but we'll have another one about slavery, and then even deeper into slavery, and then like you talked about the fight, we're gonna go back and find out what sparked the fight.
Right.
And then we'll go in deeper detail about things that could have been done, should have been done, and things that should actually be out of our mind by now. But sometimes we just keep looking back at the past and think the past. The past is not what defines us.
Right.
What defines us is the growth that we've got over that time. So if we didn't have no growth, it means we're still in the same spot. So we're gonna dig a little bit deeper. So there may be another one about slavery coming out. So stay tuned on that one.
Stay tuned. So we appreciate y'all for watching as always. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment, give us your concerns. If you have a question that I didn't ask, the person that sent these questions in, if you want to cover some more, because it's over about 50 something questions in here. I didn't cover everything, so we don't want to have it too long. We want to keep your mind span attracted to us. We don't want to let you veer off too much, but thank y'all for watching. It worked out great. I hope the audio came out good. Hope the lighting was okay. If everything worked out good, we'll be back down here again when we cover the next session. So that's gonna cover it. Is it good or bad? So like I say, we gave you our input, our opinion on it. Might say some stuff that ain't sit well with you, or you don't agree upon. That's why we need you in that comment section. Comment. I don't care what it is. If you have a disagreement or agreement, let us know. Like I say, we want to be able to have a feedback from everybody. From you, you can be able to cover the topic just like we cover the topic. We just create the topic. We let y'all suggest it. If y'all want to suggest it, comment, and then we'll create a topic and we gonna cover. We'll do some research on it. We're gonna cover it.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I appreciate y'all. If this be the end of the video, I appreciate y'all for watching. I might end up throwing some more scenes in there. So, want to just say, like, comment, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. As you can see, topics can be all over. You want to make sure you keep up with them. But today we're going to
one more thing to the part. Now remember, let's don't get this twisted, people. Slavery has nothing to do with skin color, because just as much as you're in slavery, they're in slavery. So if I say, you know what, I'm the boss and I'm seeing over you, I'm just as much a slave as you, because I got to be at this job watching you.
Right.
Otherwise, if I wasn't a slave, would I not be here? I'd be at home.
Right.
So therefore, don't get the part where it says, oh, black people slavery. No, we're all in slavery.
Right.
So whether you're black, white, green, yellow, purple, green, blue, you all in slavery. And you got to understand that everybody's working. If you look around, you don't see nobody sitting around not working. Right. Even the ones who are billionaires, you see they working every single day.
I'm glad you mentioned that, like I said, because it's not a race thing. We just
definitely not race.
Like you say, if that's the case, like you said, why are the millionaires still working?
Yeah, why? Right? I'm rich. Why am I working?
And then you look at that, you say they want a little more money. You might be right. Then why the billionaires still work?
Somebody should stop working somewhere.
There should be a cap somewhere.
Somebody should stop.
Everybody still have a form of slavery attached to them.
Yeah, definitely.
You just have to see what you want to make out of it and how you want to get yourself out. You're not gonna get yourself out of it. How you want to get yourself above the average. Like that. Right. You want to get yourself above the average, because once you become a millionaire, you're not going to just stop, because you just stop, you're going to spend your money, and then you're going to be back at the bottom trying to work yourself back up to the top.
If you don't add nothing to it, it all disappears. All of it. So remember, don't put one man ahead of you, because we're all in this boat together. Everybody in this boat together.
We all in together. So don't start poking holes in this boat, man. We all going to sink you start doing
pretty
that.
Pretty much. I don't care who on that boat.
On that boat. Like, so let's help each other out. If it's a hole in the boat, everybody get a bucket and we just start tossing the water out, get that thing plugged, and that's how a sense of life, how we should be able to keep progressing and moving forward.
Definitely.
But I appreciate y'all for watching the channel. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And
remember, as we grow, you grow.
I look at my life and admire the fishes. I lift up my brothers, I lift up my sisters. I manifest that you get blessings and figures, yeah. Multiple ends in your bank account. Fully flourish, never see a drought. Blowing the band, we don't see amounts. Generational wealth for your kids' account.